I said, give me a hell yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to a super kick thigh slapping, creative team consolidating, blood orange walloping episode of the Brothers of Discussion. We're going to talk everything from Randy Orton, criticizing the NXT roster. Shame, Randy. Or maybe, is he right? I don't know, we're not there yet. Matt, the whispers of Adam Cole's escape to AEW with 18 months left on his contract. Matt Ross going to make some Backlash predictions, that and so much more. Another spicy, flavorful week of professional wrestling. Matt, you never get a break. This week we had 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Got about 16 hours of wrestling. Woo! And that's just WWE and AEW. Sorry, New Japan, I don't have enough lifetime. The Beatles were wrong. We only get 7 days.
Huge announcement from New Japan with their big tournament coming out, but no,
I know. They put somebody cool. They put somebody cool in the first round, so I just got to watch the first round and then I'll be done.
Well, if there's going to be somebody cool in the last round, they're also in the first round.
No, I mean I meant to say the first round matchup I want to see.
I'm just teasing.
Wait, where can the people find us so I bring up this bracket and then I'll get all depressed?
Everybody can find the Brothers of Discussion at brothersofdiscussion.com and bodpodcast.com. We're on Twitter at bodpodcast. We have a joint Instagram account that features both our Detroit Red Wings show, which is hockey to the layman, and of course this wonderful pro wrestling show is at brothers_of_discussion. Now, if you could do us a favor, head on over to YouTube and find the Brothers of Discussion, where we are posting our episodes.
You can see me wear this cool shirt.
Yeah, you can see Mike's cool shirt. You can only see the cool shirt on YouTube and IGTV. So if you're listening on a podcast, you don't know which kind of cool shirt Mike's wearing. And of course, myself, I'm going to be looking eye to eye with Edge all day long today while we're recording. Wonderful background. I thought this one was perfect. But you can only see those on IGTV and YouTube. But if you go to YouTube, please subscribe. Send us a comment on what you're thinking about what's going on in the show. And, of course, we'd love to connect with everybody who wants to connect with us on YouTube. And finally, if you could do us the favor of going on over to Apple Podcasts, subscribe, rate, and review for us. We haven't gotten a review. All of our reviews are 5 stars. I was about to say, we haven't gotten a good review in a long time. We get reviews left and right. They're all shit. No, I'm just kidding. We're a 5-star podcast. We just want more of those 5 stars. So if you have the time,
absolutely.
And the final 2 things here. If you go to anchor.fm/brothers of discussion, you can support the show right now. What it is just an opportunity for you to help us make sure we're paying for our website, paying for the new Adobe stuff we're going to be putting together. It's a lot. You don't have to do it. Everything we're still going to produce is completely free for you guys.
Yes.
But if you do have the means, we greatly appreciate it. And of course, we have to thank our very first subscriber is Amy D. Amy, we hung out at the Royal Rumble. We can't wait to hang out again. Amy, you're not just a listener. You're not just a friend of the show. You are a very dear friend of mine. Mike, I don't want to speak for you, but Amy, you already know that you've helped me clothe my baby. So, Amy, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Greatly appreciate
we love
the support
Amy D.
as well. And then final thing is, if you are looking for some CBD products, you can head on over to bodpodcast.com or brothersofdiscussion.com. Click that link at the top bar of the site. It's just something we have on there for you. To get buy 2 CBD products, get one free at cbdmedic.com. So you click on that link, we'll take you straight to the shop. You can get 3 products for the price of 2. And then if you use promo code BODPodcast, that's how you get that accomplished. But the main thing we need you to do is click on that link at the top of the bar on the website before you even think about using the code, because that link at the top of the bar is what's helping us get noticed by CBD Medic. So it's just, if you're buying some CBD products, if you head on through that link, we're going to give you a discount, and then it helps support the Brothers of Discussion. So we're not asking for too much financial support. It's just if you are buying some CBD products and you're a fan of the show, just head on through that route, and you actually get to support us that way. So we greatly appreciate it. And with that, Mike, we got a heavy show here.
We gotta start rocking and rolling. But I found the matchup.
Breaking news that literally just...
Hold on, before this breaking news, Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. in the first round.
It's going to be a big loss for Zack Sabre.
I guess I'll watch that and I'm all done. That's all I wanted. All right, man, what's this breaking news?
This is just tweeted by the WWE. So as we were putting stuff together, this is what I'm finding from the WWE. In an effort to streamline our creative writing process for television, we have consolidated both teams from Raw and SmackDown into one group, led by Bruce Prichard. Paul Heyman, he's just going to be an advocate for I almost said for Paul Heyman, for Brock Lesnar going forward. Guys, this is huge in the sense of news. I still stand in that place, Mike, when this was originally announced. Remember when we were all excited about Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman? And Bischoff sets sail, and in comes Brucey here. And I said at the time, and I'll say it now, I don't know how much they're actually doing. None of us do. Like, we don't know what their role is, so I don't know how much this actually affects anything we're about to watch. But I mean, it's still pretty big that whatever. So we could safely assume anything going on Raw, right? Or what? Or was it? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I don't even know if Paul Heyman was doing Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, Matt, you. There's so much to unpack here. Because
how much should we care about it, Mike? And you're. Let me ask you that.
Well, I think it would be a lot easier to kind of have, real feelings about this. WWE has been so adamant about, we're a real sport. We got a big free agent signing. We got GMs. But ultimately, we always know it comes down to whatever Vince wants to do, whoever Vince wants to push. Since, Heyman was supposedly getting credit for the writing, that's when we've seen Drew McIntyre up top. That's how we've seen, The Fiend making his big push. That's how we've seen Nikki Cross getting, mic time. We've seen the Street Profits get called up early, raised eyebrows, and then all they've done is answer the call. So all those things, we kind of give credit to this era. So in terms of, WWE wanting to be a real sport, Matt, one thing that, when we look at how our teams are managed, the Red Wings, Pistons because they're in Detroit, is we look at the GM. So I think it's almost like we kind of want to know, so we know who to give credit to or kind of who to give blame to, or be like, hey, maybe we should make a move here instead of, those, almost annual grumblings about, the old man's out of touch, or, do the wrestlers, are they pushing them correctly? It would be kind of nice if maybe that part of WWE was a little more transparent. So then we could kind of understand, like whose writing styles we kind of jibe with. You watch The Mandalorian on Disney, Matt. All of a sudden, episode 10 comes up, was the last one 8 or 10? I forget. Doesn't matter. The finale was had a lot of pep to it. It was hilarious. The action was well paced, and lo and behold, it was Taika Waititi. Oh,
Taika.
But I guess the point is not my pronunciation and butchering of this man's first name, but you can tell when like a master is at the helm. So I guess it would be nice at some point for us to understand who is ultimately like putting this stuff together. Outside of the old man.
So here's my perspective on this.
Because this would have more meaning for us, I guess.
My perspective on this is the streamlining aspect, having one guy in charge of both shows. I think since we have people jumping back and forth, there's probably been a lot of, well, where's this guy? Can I bring this guy over? and it probably causes, somebody who's probably too high in the totem pole, let's say Paul Heyman, no, you should have been watching SmackDown or Raw to know what was going on. So I think what this does, and I think this is why this is important for WWE fans, is that you're going to have one person managing the stories of these shows. So we don't have to worry about having things get confused. Wins in one spot not making sense on the next show, or somebody getting pushed too far on one show and then they jump over to the next show and they have to plummet back down. I could say, for one, like, maybe some of the Charlotte stuff will start to get figured out, so she doesn't have to take 2 victories on Raw and also throw the champion down into the well. Maybe we don't have to do that. I don't know. So we can figure out a different way to push Charlotte. So I just there's been a lot of mixing of rosters and stories that, quite frankly, like as I look back the last couple months, I'm not really remembering stories as much as I'm just going, well, that person was champion. So I think this gives more opportunity to maybe expand the stories, take a little bit more risk, because there is one person in charge.
But we had we had the Randy Orton and Edge story. We had McIntyre's rise. We had Otis's rise. We had Mandy and Sonya becoming relevant. We had Asuka becoming champion. We had the Street Profits coming out of nowhere, becoming champions. We had the AJ Undertaker story. I didn't think it was that bleak. Do you think that those are just too far back? Because I just think that they're in some capacity some kind of continuance of like what we're seeing now. Because I could almost say right now, I like all the champions that they've selected.
I wish I could get on the payroll as a writer, because if saying that Drew McIntyre should be champion after winning the Royal Rumble required a writer, holy shit balls, I could write the shit out of WWE. Bring back Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, I'm just throwing ideas at a dartboard at that point. I don't know, Mike. I still, there's a lot of great writing out there that, I'm going through my Witcher books for like the 3rd time. Like, I love those to death. But I'm going to carry those with me till I die. But I'm not carrying Otis and Mandy Rose with me till the day I die.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that it's War and Peace, but I just, the way that the people up top are kind of, the way the deck is stacked right now, I'm kind of on board with most of the decisions that they're doing right now.
No, I got you. I'm not really complaining. I think the point is, it's more like a checkerboard than a chessboard, maybe. There's relevance to the pieces.
This news, it's just a symbolic gesture, because again, we don't even know which decisions somebody like Heyman even pushed. Right. We know that guy has he loves hearing himself talk. He loves reminding you how right he is. He's got a massive ego, so I don't know if somebody just turned down one of his ideas or something he tried to push got knocked down, so he just said, fuck this, I'm out. And then they just said Prichard is going to take over. In all likelihood, it's probably something like that. Not putting words in Heyman's mouth, but
right.
He got me to this point with, I'm pretty happy with the champion, so I kind of like what he's done.
Yeah, and I'm one that's a huge Drew McIntyre fan. I brought my old McIntyre Ziggler T-shirt. Nobody can really see. I'm a huge fan of Drew McIntyre, but I'm also one that thought Drew should have been champion year ago. Anyway, hey, I'm still watching on a weekly basis, but I think my chessboard and checkerboard analogy there is kind of where my head's at. I think the pieces need to exist. I think you need to have somebody that's getting paid, but I don't know if there's a queen piece that we're making sure doesn't get knocked down, or if it's just a matter of having enough pieces on the board so you can get a show out the door. I think the idea of knowing why Paul Heyman is out is probably news. Like, that would be interesting to know. if that was his decision, but we don't know it. It's all really just us going like, did Bruce write this? Was this Paul Heyman's show? Was this something that, even though it was on Bruce's show, that he actually hated? So if he wasn't there, maybe it would have gotten pushed more. It's a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah, it's a symbolic gesture. We don't know who did what, and I don't know if they would ever be comfortable enough to, kind of explain, who took credit for what, because then that kind of totally shatters, the illusion that any of this is real.
I can see that my fart got picked up on the microphone, so that's good news.
Nice.
You know what? Here's a good transition. I just got a phone call from Ortonville. Mike, let's head on over to Ortonville while I go to my voicemail.
Yeah.
Do NXT wrestlers need to slow down? So I saw this title on an article, Mike. Can you give me a little more background on what was going on? Because I'm assuming
you know how these wrestling stories start. It's they cherry pick one quote and then extrapolate exponentially a bunch of nonsense. But basically, Randy was saying that he's getting older. He's not in the ring all the time. He's got more time to watch wrestling. And I guess he was watching NXT with the missus, and he was really enjoying it. And then he said, he didn't want to name, throw anybody under the bus or anything like that. But he said that the matches would be able to connect with an audience more if these guys just slowed down a little bit. And so I think he was talking about people who, some of the lighter wrestlers who, will kind of stack spots, like boom, 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 boom. And then, they're amazing things, but there's so many amazing things happening in a few seconds. Like they kind of lose their, the impact, the offensive impact, because you're just setting up for the, the next, ridiculous move over the top or the, what have you. So I don't think he was necessarily trying to angrily, and vengefully, talk about my generation knows what to do. I think he makes a good point. I think, sometimes these guys do move so quick. You can kind of lose sight of some of the spots. I think that's, for me, why I don't love...
All right, Jim Cornette.
That's
Just kidding.
I wish we had that kind of listenership.
I want to see this shit of some guy bringing his hands out in his pockets. I'm not here for that shit.
No, but here's what I'll say. Like, Ricochet's gone now. He's not even on TV. He's one of the most physically just impressive specimens you've ever seen in a wrestling ring. But it's almost like he moves so quick, you don't have time to really, digest what you just saw. I almost want him to wrestle a little bit like Keith Lee, where Keith Lee also does high-flying moves. And I know it's a little bit different because he's, a super heavyweight, but they look so much more devastating because, he'll kind of stand there and, pout and preen a little bit before he hits those impact moves. And Ricochet's just going at 99 miles an hour, and he's not really winning an audience. He's not selling shirts, and he's not getting TV time.
Well,
what do you think, man?
Mike, is there any credence to the thought that maybe Randy Orton should speed up a little bit? Like, when he's putting me to sleep with all his bullshit...
You're reading Ciampa's tweets over there. You're reading Ciampa.
I can't help but to wonder when I'm watching a Randy Orton match how much NyQuil is still coursing through my veins from the night before. I think we're talking. All right, I'm gonna get. What do I want to do here?
Talk about the human quaalude that is Randy Orton.
Do I want to give the answer that is the most boring podcast answer, or do I just go the other way on this? Like, do I say there's gray areas? Randy's kind of right. He's also kind of wrong. No, Randy's fucking wrong. He's an old fart. He's got to wake up and realize that if he wants to put on the greatest wrestling match of all time, he can't just be doing headlocks and all that bullshit and walking around the ring. No, I mean, look, we both respect the hell out of Randy Orton. We know he's one of the best ever to ever lace him up. You would be hard pressed to like if you put him on your Mount Rushmore, why not? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Who, like some of the guys that don't belong anymore because even the likes of Hulk Hogan have done so much to damage the sport, despite how much they've done to raise it up. Randy's one of those guys that's just straight up pro wrestling, and you can't. As hard pressed as I would be to tell someone to take him off their Mount Rushmore, like I guess that's the direction and the thought I wanted to finish. I think it would also be the onus of the viewer like myself to admit that sometimes I pick up my phone during a Randy Orton match, and when things are flying around,
you certainly have time to do it. Yeah.
What? You
certainly have time to do it. I mean,
right. When things are flying around at 100 miles an hour, Mike, that in your house went by a lickety-split, my man. That was...
I gotta say that I think he makes a fair assessment with some guys, but I think that to do it this week, after how excellent In Your House was, I maybe would have waited a week or two before
is
putting
there,
that out there.
With all of the love that comes in on NXT, and the fact that Randy Orton is now tangled up in this greatest wrestling match ever build, and I've got to think part of that has to deal with how maybe embarrassed Edge and Randy were with the reviews and results of their WrestleMania match. Is there a twinge of jealousy coming through for good old Randy? I mean, is it possible that, sure, he can tell us right now if he was on the show, no, this is me just trying to give constructive criticism. But is it possible there was also a little bit of jealousy behind this comment?
I guess. I kind of feel like the more we kind of get information from, The Undertaker when he, does, now he's doing podcasts, which is the weirdest thing. Listening to The Undertaker, and everybody just wants to talk to him about the Montreal Screwjob. Like, come on, man. It was fucking 1995 or whatever. Who gives a shit? But anyway, just the way The Undertaker will talk about, the philosophy of his character's moveset. I'm going to move really slow, and then it's going to suddenly just pop out of nowhere. You're going to see me do a dive over the top rope, and people will just gasp because, they're so used to me being this, just kind of this perpetual doom that it's just kind of slowly coming towards you. And then for that, that lightning strike of violence just kind of, shocks people. I kind of feel like Randy a little bit tries to use that philosophy. So he does wrestle slow. He's not my favorite wrestler of all time. But I think the way he purposefully tries to be methodical and then drop that, RKO out of nowhere. I think that it is by design a little bit. So I just feel like somebody who is going to go down as one of the greats, who does have that deliberate pace. I think that his criticism does hold merit. And I guess, Matt, my last question, I don't know if we want to close the book on this discussion topic, but who do you think he was referring to?
I mean, it feels like something happened with a comment with Randy and Ciampa before, and then Ciampa took this personally. So I don't know if Ciampa started thinking this is about me.
Did you see the Twitter exchange or?
Yeah, I saw it. I can't really remember at this point.
Congrats to everybody at NXT. Hope your thighs are all right. # leg slap class. And then Ciampa said something about, I have a baby daughter, and she had trouble going to sleep. Luckily, I had one of Randy Orton's matches on DVD or something. Yeah. I don't think that this assessment would be applied to Ciampa, if that's, what you're getting at. I don't know. It might bleed into another one of our topics. I don't know if it's, somebody like Dream and Adam Cole, but it's such a tough assessment to point at this week because from, Charlotte, Rhea, and our new NXT Women's Champion, Io Shirai, having an A+ match. The rest of the women's division having a great tag match. Ciampa and Cross had an excellent match. I thought Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I thought that was Priest's best match since he's been in NXT, and that was one of my favorite Finn matches since. Good God, maybe since he fought as Demon Balor against Seth Rollins, like that big of a gap. Like that's how much I enjoyed him running in and beating the crap out of Priest before the bell even rang.
Yeah.
I like that goofy back alley brawl with Dream and Cole. The Gargano Keith Lee match was excellent violence. This is not the week to have that criticism. You can use it sometimes, but it was so good. And I'm ready to move on from Randy. I think there's some spots, but not this weekend.
You're laying me out to dry there. Man, who do you think it was? Oh, Ciampa? Well, I think they all had such a great weekend. I don't want to say who I thought it was.
Well, if I had to pick someone, it would maybe be Adam Cole.
I mean, yeah, Adam goes for those,
He loves slapping legs.
Yeah, it's just about the last 5 minutes of all of the Adam Cole matches are once those knee pads are down. That's about all you got. Anything from the waist down for Adam Cole. And I love Adam Cole matches. But hey, I mean, we're here to critique pro wrestling, right? So there we go. Mike, I made a topic this week. Here's the real issue here. So I labeled it as Charlotte versus Asuka. ... Why? What are we leading into the long game here where Asuka is going to always look like she just can't get over Charlotte? Do we really think this is going to happen, or is Charlotte just always going to have Asuka's number? What do we need to watch Charlotte get the win over Asuka again this past Monday in a non-title match where the story maybe could have been Charlotte loses her NXT title and then falls a little bit farther down, but instead it's Charlotte lost her title, but she didn't get pinned, and she's right back on top and knocks the Raw champion down a peg. I don't need it. I don't know how you feel about that.
I will say I enjoyed the Io Shirai victory on Sunday because I was not Charlotte triumphing somehow. So I was pretty happy with that. So I think I was still riding that emotional high when I saw Asuka fall to Charlotte again. I don't know. I mean, because a lot of the times what we'll see is that the champion will, outside of our beloved McIntyre, the champion will lose, like baloney matches, and then gear it back up for the title match. Charlotte, you can't not admit she's maybe the best worker female-wise. I'm just saying that because I think I can almost guarantee that for the women, but the men I just haven't calculated enough to see if she's really better than most of them. So I think that in some capacity you have your best asset right here, and she is Roman Reigns, she is Cena, she is The Rock. They treated her this is our golden goose, so we gotta put her out there and maybe have her defeat a champion in a non-title match. I think it's just more noteworthy for us because in like a 5-year span, I think she's already a 12 or 13 time champion. So it just feels like, oh man, again. But by the same token, it's like this is the goose. This is the face of the company. This is who they send to do WWE interviews. So I think I always take the positive angle, and I I can't get too upset because I know that's kind of how they like to treat their champions outside of McIntyre, who just wins everything, and I think we're all happy with that.
I think it just depends on where do we draw the line with critiquing the show?
Because if we flipped the belt, right? If we flipped it, if Asuka was non-title match against Charlotte, Charlotte was champion, I would expect to see Asuka win that match and then lose a title match.
Okay.
That's kind of my perspective. I don't know if that kind of does anything for you.
So one of the problems with Asuka right now is that she was pretty much handed the belt, and we could be in this mode of building her up into a credible champion, and all we really have is a match that we absolutely know she's not going to lose to a Nia Jax who can't help but injure everybody she fights. So there's no way she's going to be given this belt. So a win over Nia still doesn't make a credible champ. You have an opportunity to have Asuka maybe find some other way. There was an opportunity there, I feel like, to build up at the start of the night where you do this tag team to build up some sort of camaraderie. Maybe Charlotte sees this, Asuka as the tippy top of all of the competition she could face. So she's got some mutual respect, or there's mutual respect built there. And when Nia Jax comes out to cave in Asuka's face, Charlotte could, get in her face. And Asuka uses that to get the win over Charlotte. And then that could actually kickstart the feud of Charlotte versus Asuka that they obviously want to do so badly. So, that you'd have that right there. Asuka could actually get the win over Nia, and then maybe Charlotte does interfere somehow. If you absolutely need Nia to continue for another month, Charlotte's interference could actually end the match, and you've got a triple threat, and then we end the entire feud at SummerSlam, depending on whenever the hell that is. But yeah, there's different ways that this champion I think could have been built a little bit better. I don't know. I think my fear is that we're keeping Charlotte at the top, and of course another one of the casualties is Peyton Royce and Billie Kay this week, who were getting built up and then just totally crashed down in the first segment on Raw this week. So, as much, as great as it feels for Io to get the win and get the NXT championship, there is still in the back of my mind, she still didn't pin Charlotte, so she's kind of like this, B+ champ kind of thing, where they're bringing the title back down a peg, where you've done all this work, and I don't know if you saw this tweet from Triple H. It was Sean Ross Sapp, I think is his name on Twitter, journalist for Pro Wrestling, spoke with Triple H. Triple H said, "You'll understand in 4 to 6 months why Charlotte won the NXT title." At this point, what it looks like is that Charlotte was unbeatable, and now the Riff Raff has the title again. It's great that Io has the title. This is what we wanted, but the way that they did it with these different opportunities to help build another character, but unfortunately the only character in mind to keep at the top is Charlotte. I guess that's what really claws at me. So then the casualties this week are the difference between an Io victory over Charlotte, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, and then Asuka falling again to Charlotte. I could look like an idiot right now, and everybody's watching this or listening to it and saying, yeah, but eventually Asuka's going to get over Charlotte. I don't believe that's a thing. I don't think there is an eventually. I think this just continues.
Yeah, I would say the biggest disservice, and you alluded to it for a second, was Nia Jax, who definitely looks like a paper contender at this point, since they're already building Charlotte versus Asuka, after this weekend. Nia is quickly going to be off the table. It's just this Sunday when they did the In Your House, I just feel like we tried to. They kind of found a way to make everybody look good. Io obviously left the champion. Charlotte did not get pinned. Rhea only lost because she was in the figure 8 and she took a moonsault right to her face. I don't know if Io knows you're supposed to do it across the midsection, but she splatted my beloved Rhea right in the cheekbone with her knees. And Rhea obviously just gave a thumbs up. You know, I'm good. Like, bless your heart, you beautiful angel. But what a weird feeling for me, for Rhea, by the way. She's gorgeous, but I also wouldn't mind, like, her upper back and shoulders. Like, she's got crazy athleticism. But anywho, I thought that what they tried to do is leave that match. All 3 women look strong. I feel like they did succeed doing that. I didn't feel like Rhea left looking like a bag of diarrhea, because she's basically eating 2 finishers at the same time. Charlotte didn't get pinned, so she didn't officially lose the title. If she did get pinned, it just, for me, would mean that Io and Charlotte would have to, you know, have a rivalry for a little bit, you know, and, you know, give me a rematch. So it just kind of feels like they kind of found a way to write Charlotte off, kind of keep all 3 women, you know, arguably pretty even keel, and then we got a new champion out of Io.
Is that what we needed, though? Did we need Charlotte to just be written off NXT after beating Rhea at WrestleMania and taking out the competition and kind of just treating the NXT title as like I am taking this for a little bit, a good day, and then off she goes?
Yeah, I can't really defend that. You know, it would have been a nice WrestleMania moment for Rhea, but you know, Rhea's what, 23? She'll be fine. She's going to be running this company in a few years. I'm okay.
But that's like, we always say that. We've been saying the same. If Roman Reigns, if we didn't have COVID right now, we'd be looking at a WWE show that refuses. Like, the only reason Roman is not at the top of the company right now is just because he's not there. But think about how many times we've said, somebody else will get a shot. No, it's still top. It's still Charlotte and Roman. It does. Like, how many years do we say somebody else will get their shot? But just because Roman's literally not there is the only reason we have like a Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, lineup of champions.
I can't get mad at hypotheticals. I'm just happy with where wrestling's at now. I mean, I don't doubt that, you know, if Roman was healthy, he'd, you know, probably be in title matches, except that, you know, we kind of have the blueprint for what they did, you know, the past fall and winter and leading into the spring, where Roman wasn't necessarily, you know, the only focal point. He was kind of doing, you know, just kind of Roman mid-card matches. He wasn't really gunning for the title every pay-per-view. So they were kind of getting to that point. It's just now it kind of feels like Charlotte is Roman from, like, I don't know, 18 months ago. And so she's there for every single belt. So I'm prepared to, I guess if Rhea got her moment in NXT, everybody, you know, had her on her shoulders. WrestleMania was poop. But if that meant that Io Shirai got to, you know, win a match and become champion, you know. Would it have meant more if she pinned Charlotte? Absolutely. It's just they're trying to protect all these assets, and I'm as somebody who watches Avengers Endgame probably once every 2 weeks, I kind of get it. You know, keeping Thanos strong, but you got to keep Thor strong. You got to keep Iron Man strong. You want to make Spider-Man look strong. You want to make Captain America look strong. It's kind of, you know, you got all these pieces you're trying to juggle, and I feel like they're doing okay with that. If I have Io as my champ, Rhea eating 2 finishers, Charlotte didn't technically get pinned to lose her belt.
I mean, we do need to move on, but
we absolutely do.
like if you think about that idea that I get what you're trying to say about the Avengers, but the only reason Charlotte went over to NXT to fight for that title was because they wanted they wanted Becky to keep sailing along. And they can't have Charlotte lose. So it was, who's the casualty of Charlotte this year? To me, it's just, it's not a fun way to watch / write pro wrestling, in my opinion. It gets.
But you know what?
It's
Real
tough
quick,
to watch.
let me know when you have your last point.
I'm gonna go after your last point, but go ahead.
That's fine. So when Shayna got called up, which where the fuck did she go? You talked about now that Charlotte left, now we're leaving it to the scraps. I think the NXT women's division was in shambles a little bit because it kind of felt like Shayna and everybody else. But now that I feel like, you have a match where Io and Rhea got to elevate themselves against the best woman, like the most heavily pushed woman in all of the WWE umbrella, it helps elevate the value of that championship. So when they fight for it, it's not just, a couple of kids. It's, two people who are fighting over something that was, held and cherished by the queen, literally, of WWE. So I kind of get her adding value to that gold because the champion makes the belt. So I kind of get it.
That's only if you put yourself in the mindset that you saw NXT wrestling as like a lesser than. And I think you and I loved NXT. We loved watching all the takeovers. So for me, did I need Charlotte to come in and win the title for a bit? Nope. I was going to watch every takeover regardless. I just, from what we see on Twitter, it's just a lot of anger. So I don't know a lot of people that are NXT faithful that needed to see her win the title to believe, in that NXT championship. I think there's more to it to let these wrestlers own that belt and let that division build it up themselves than to say this group isn't good enough right now, so we need someone else to step in. I still see this as a placeholder for Charlotte and less of a let's build up the NXT championship. And I think it's very important for us to check in 4, 5, and 6 months and see what Triple H was talking about, that the whole reason that Charlotte won the NXT title and his idea that it'll all make sense in 4 to 6 months. I feel like that's just long enough to where they can write 60 more stories that we'll completely forget that he said that, and he can we can just keep moving. Well, Io still have the belt or something like that. She'll be fighting Shotzi.
Matt, speaking of months down the road, let's do this last little nugget. We got to get into the Wednesday Night Wars. We got to get you all prepped up for Backlash here. Matt, I don't really know why this is out there, but I guess there's stories of Adam Cole's, looking over at AEW, everybody having a blast. His wife is getting really good promo opportunities. She's hitting him out of the park. Young Bucks are about to start fighting FTR in a legitimate tag team feud. All his buddies are hanging out, and he's stuck in NXT.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like there's any real, weight to this, rumor of him leaving NXT because his contract apparently says 1.5 years on it.
Yeah.
Where is this coming from?
I'll tell you exactly where this is coming from. Telling these stories about guys moving from WWE to AEW is big money on Google, like when you're doing those Google searches. So now that FTR has moved on over, you've got to start picking other guys. So we'll start seeing the Adam Coles, the Ciampas, the Garganos, anybody that's not getting a huge push. I'm sure Cesaro's on his way to these articles. That's why this is happening. I don't see Adam Cole quotes and him saying, man, I'm really jealous what's going on at AEW. It's all just, hey, that guy knows someone at AEW. Maybe he's coming over. That is 1,000% where that kind of garbage is coming from. It could still happen. I
feel like, WWE, I feel like he's not called up because he's not 3 inches taller. Right. But I feel like the way AEW pushes, the Kip Sabians, Sammy Guevara's, you name it. All these guys are like 150 pounds. I think Adam Cole would just be a god in AEW. But, he's not complaining now. He's a god in NXT. He's the longest reigning men's champion ever. So, he's making good money. He leads Undisputed Era, the most over gimmick for them. The best faction since Evolution, Nexus, the way they get promoted. I think he's doing fine. Matt, let's jump into the Wednesday Night Wars here. A couple weeks in a row now. You've had NXT. That continued this week. I had AEW.
I know, I'm starting to forget what's going on AEW.
Well, God bless it. I watched both. I gotta say, Matt, damn it. I'm gonna say NXT won. So I'm gonna give my moment number 3 here. And it was FTR doing battle with the Butcher and the Blade. It was their first match since they made it to AEW. Their entrance was kind of cool. They just drove up in a truck. It was like the Shield, if the Shield just came flying through the crowd in a truck.
Yeah.
And then on the way to the ring, Cash Wheeler accidentally got caught, because he's supposed to be mean mugging his opponents. He accidentally got caught doing a little wink to his buddy in the crowd, like a little... And then he went, oh. But AEW tried to push the hell out of... This is, you're not going to see any high spots in this match. It's going to be a good old-fashioned, fist fight. I think they said that about 5 or 6 times during the match. And it worked. I think, I don't know what other opponents really, at this current juncture, would have given that kind of, old school, fist fight feel, besides the Butcher and the Blade, because that's kind of how they do. It's kind of how they roll. It went well. It's just, we're going to get into it in some other moments from AEW, but it ended in a big old schmaz. And the Bucks were flying out there. The Hangman came out in his jeans. Omega came out in his khaki shorts, which made me feel good as somebody who owns a lot of khaki shorts. And eventually it looks like these guys are all going to fight for tag team belts at some point. But Matt,
I think I'm finally making the transition out of khaki shorts. I've been wearing like regular old short, or you know what? I'm saying cargo. I'm making a transition out of cargo shirts. I'm just wearing regular.
Yeah, I kind of have both now. I used to just have the cargo, but now I'm wearing cargo right now. But the other day I wore some non-cargo. They're like red. So
I have red cargo shorts. All right.
Moment number 3 from NXT. Yeah.
It's Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae in that segment with Keith Lee and Mia Yim. It's a mixed gender tag match. Those can get really frustrating because of the rules and to make sure that same gender's in the ring at the same time. But they definitely took some liberties here, and including Mia Yim throwing Gargano down, which that's the kind of thing I think they need to mix in a little bit more to get these mixed tag matches to mean a little bit more to me. But it was a great opportunity for Gargano to. I've been complaining about Gargano for a while, including a lot of complaining at the last for our takeover preview. But Gargano having his wife get squashed, get absolutely pancaked by Keith Lee, and to use that to roll up Keith and get the win. And then, Mike, they had the opportunity for Candice to be faking, right?
Yeah.
They totally could have rolled that through as a storyline. It still would have been kind of cool. No, the story was Candice got laid out by Keith Lee on accident. And after Gargano rolled up Keith Lee for the win, he lifted his corpse of a bride and shook her arm in the air and was waving at the camera with a knocked out Candice, like laughing on his way back to the locker room. I love that segment so much. I'm not saying it as like someone who's like, getting married. No, you needed to see like some goofy heel tactics. And one of the reasons I like this episode of NXT so much is that it really felt like it was going into the goofy side of things, or like, I don't know, like we're stepping outside of this being so serious, and this guy's gonna punch this guy harder than the other guy, and that can get pretty boring. But this was an opportunity for Gargano to have some fun with it, to be a heel, to be a sneaky heel, to be a shitty little, shit-eating grin heel, like using his wife being knocked out to get the win. I loved all of it, and I thought this helped sell like the kind of bad guy that Gargano should be and what he could be successful with. Because you know what, he puts on 5 6-star matches, whatever you want to say. But he's a little guy and he's fighting Keith Lee. He's got no business in there. So for him to get the win, that's how it should happen. Boom. So, Mike, now you're number 2.
Before I do it, Matt, I want to just read a quote from Jurassic Park, if I may. Dr. John Hammond. Well, Mr. DNA, where'd you come from, Mr. DNA? From your blood. Just one drop of blood contains billions of strands of DNA, the building blocks of life. A DNA strand like me is a blueprint for building a living thing. And sometimes animals that went extinct millions of years ago, like dinosaurs, left their blueprints behind for us to find. We just had to know where to look. 100 million years ago, there were mosquitoes just like today. And just like today, they fed on the blood of animals, even dinosaurs. Sometimes after biting a dinosaur, the mosquito would land on a branch of a tree and get stuck in the sap. After a long time, the tree sap would get hard and become fossilized, just like a dinosaur bone, preserving the mosquito inside. That was a lot of exposition, wasn't it?
Where are we going with this, Mike?
A lot of exposition. Matt, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Sammy Guevara was just supposed to fight Colt Cabana, and then it turned into quite a bit of exposition, because then, after Colt Cabana lost, Sammy Guevara was pushed as the face of the future of wrestling and the company. And then his music stopped playing because Brody Lee and the Dark Order came out, and they picked up Colt Cabana and said, hey, sorry for the loss. Tough luck, pal. And then they just went into the locker room. And then Colt Cabana kind of looked around, and then, as you know, it's a big Y. There's a Y juncture when you go back into Gorilla at AEW, and Colt could have gone right, but he went left to follow the Dark Order and Brody Lee. So then Sammy Guevara's music started playing again, and Sammy's like, yeah, play my music. I won. I'm the best. And then Matt Hardy just started walking out, and he's like, hey. And Sammy Guevara's like, what do you want, you moron? I don't want to fight you. I just won. He's like, I don't want to fight, said Matt Hardy. I want you to not be with Chris Jericho anymore because you're your own wrestler. You don't need Chris Jericho. And Sammy's like, what? And then they started fighting each other, kind of. And they finally went back in the gorilla. There's a lot of exposition, man. I don't know why we packed 5 stories into one segment. But as much exposition as that was, Sammy Guevara is getting the attention he deserves. So even if this was a convoluted explanation, even if AEW tried to stop 4 to 5 different stories in a row, I forgot to mention Colt Cabana eventually goes into Brody Lee's office and the door closes. We don't know what happens. But all this was tied into a nothing Guevara-Colt Cabana match because they want to make sure Guevara has his fingerprints all over AEW. So, it's moment number 2 because of how much they're investing in this kid, and he deserves it. Sammy, you Spanish god son of a bitch, I love you. Matt, it was a lot.
It sounded like you
I need
hated
a
the
drink
segment.
of water. I liked it,
sounded
but
like
there's a lot to keep.
number 4.
There's a lot to keep track of. Matt, moment number 2, NXT.
I gotta go. I mean, the number 1 is so easy to pick, but this is how I had to look this up and use Google Translate just to kind of break the fourth wall here. But Elio de Fantasma is revealed to be Santos Escobar.
Oh no!
After Drake Maverick asks for a gentlemanly rematch for the Cruiserweight Championship. I'm saying that Santos Escobar is leading El Orden Oscuro, which, of course, in Spanish is the Dark Order. So
no, it's not.
He had his 2 cronies come out. They're wearing the luchador masks and then the all black from the neck down. I thought that was fun, and it will at least be something that they're infusing some storyline into. I saw that you just copied that. You're throwing it into Google Translate right now.
Yes, I am. I can't believe it's the Dark Order. God damn it, WWE.
No! I'm making that up. threw it into Google Translate.
Oh, I
call them that.
said that on NXT. Okay.
No.
All right.
Jesus.
I wouldn't put it past them.
No. I mean, Mike, if they did do that, hats off, all the power to them. That is the route to go. Because they could just claim, they could just be, oh, whoops, didn't know. Google Translate wasn't working. Oopsies. But essentially what happened is Santos Escobar beats up Drake Maverick. The point I was coming to before I realized you thought the WWE actually made a Spanish Dark Order was that they're actually making a faction that revolves around the Cruiserweight division. And I just, that's great. That's fantastic. Let's infuse some story into that division because we just saw one of the best stories ever in the Cruiserweight division with Drake Maverick making it all the way to the finals and then eventually getting his contract again. But this just shows some more investment into that division. And anything they can do to make sure that I'm still invested in that division, the champion, and now you've got, a pretty cool looking heel that, made me think of like shows like Narcos where you've got this guy looks like
Narcos.
a kingpin
Who
now.
the hell watches Narcos, man? Give us a Breaking Bad reference.
Well, yeah, so you've got like a Breaking Bad kingpin.
Okay, I get you now. Okay. Yeah, Breaking Bad.
Oh man, we're so old. Yeah, funsies. Santos Escobar. Keep an eye out, folks. All right, Mike, you're number one.
Man, moment number one, there's no question. It was the best friends fighting Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Jack Hager. Jake Jack did later basically put a bid in to fight Cody for the TNT title at Fyter Fest. But, Matt, this is a big story because this wasn't just, a quick little accident flash in the pan. It looks like we're going to get Orange Cassidy v. Jericho. The inner circle came out, bludgeoned poor Orange Cassidy with a 20-pound bag of oranges. And Jericho christened him Blood Orange Cassidy. Now, did Jim Ross try to fuck up that joke by calling him, well, looks like he's Blood Orange Cassidy a second before Jericho said it? You'd be right in assuming that, and it certainly did happen. But Blood Orange Cassidy was bloody on the ground. He was busted open. And it looks like Jericho is just filled with rage that this goofball with hands in his pockets was able to get a fast one on him. He even won the match for the best friends. And I think Jericho's, going to really put his all, like Jericho the man is going to put his all in to get Orange Cassidy over as a wrestler. So it looks very promising. He's going all in.
He already went double or nothing.
He's going all in.
My camera's, here we go.
But yeah, it was a fun schmaz. There's too many schmazes on AEW. I think there's 3 to 4 schmazes in one 2-hour episode. But this one made sense. This one had a bag of oranges, a baseball bat, Blood Orange Cassidy, a new nickname, and it met. Looks like we're gonna launch Cassidy into a feud with one of the GOATs of all time. And that leads us to the winning moment of the Wednesday Night Wars. Matt, what was it?
Man, I sure do hate schmaz finishes. All right. Schmaz finish here at NXT.
It happens.
Mike, this match was fantastic. And for Dexter Lumis to be taking on the NXT champ. Mike, I know we were trying to figure out earlier, how do you elevate a division without having to throw in, I don't know, like Roman Reigns into NXT? Well, this is how you do it. Because I crave the next Dexter Lumis segment. Oh my God, was it amazing. Like, he even got beat up by Undisputed Era and still had that moment where, Adam Cole's looking down at Dexter. So Adam gets the victory. But he's taunting Dexter after the win, after some cheating goes down. And Dexter locks him in. I'm forgetting what the Dexter finisher is. But anyway.
Is it called the Dark Passenger?
I can't remember. He locks Adam Cole in there.
Is it called the mustache ride?
Hell yeah. Wrenches him around the ring, and you've got Undisputed Era running back in.
Did you say he Frenches him around the ring?
Wrenches.
Oh.
That's a whole new character. There's something about the way he walks, like the first half of a match until he finally, gets taken down a couple times, but he's walking around the ring like Terminator. And he focuses a lot on just the strengths, kind of like The Undertaker, too. But he's also, he looks insane. Like this, God, the blonde hair, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the Aryan idea, and it's just like,
I think it's those brown pants.
What?
I think it's those brown pants.
And the gloved hands.
It looks like you went, to try on some clothes at Penny's, and then there's just this shirtless guy trying out pants, just staring at you. Jesus, kind of creepy.
But anyway, so Velveteen gets involved, so he's not done with Undisputed Era, and what happens? You've got Roddy and Bobby Fish fighting all the way to the back with Dexter and Velveteen Dream. So I think we've got a tag match coming up for next week, but. With Adam Cole celebrating in the ring, all the lights go out.
Yeah.
And Scarlett Bordeaux walks to the ring with a... Oh, God. What the fuck is it called? What's the little time... The time thingy with the sand?
Like an hourglass?
Yes! She comes out with an hourglass, puts it on the ring, flips it over. The fake crowd starts chanting TikTok. And Karrion Kross is now officially in this main event scene with Adam Cole. And Adam Cole could not have looked more terrified. Him holding that belt and looking scared of Karrion Kross, this guy has really been booked to the moon. So in one segment, Mike, without having to get Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns involved, you built up Karrion Kross to be the most terrifying challenger that Adam Cole has faced thus far since becoming champion. And second to him is Dexter Lumis and how much he scares the Undisputed Era. You know what? And you can't even forget, the first segment of the night, Roddy keeps running around talking about how Dexter Lumis is somewhere watching him. And then
he's seeing apparitions. Yeah.
Yeah, as Undisputed Era is leaving the ring, they get a shot of Dexter Lumis in the crowd, and Roddy sees him and does oh God, there he is. I mean, everything about this episode was about Dexter Lumis, but easily, the winner of the night, who gets elevated the most, is Karrion Kross, who does not even make an appearance. But goddamn, if he doesn't look like one of the most difficult challenges that Adam Cole's going to have to face.
Absolutely.
And continuing the idea that William Regal versus Adam Cole is the real feud going on here, I think that's where Regal, tosses the next challenge out. And that's where he goes, you know what? You're fighting Karrion Kross next. Fuck no, man. So just... tons of fun up and down on this episode of NXT. If you've given up on NXT, we were about to do a couple months ago, and maybe just focus on the takeovers, this episode had so much in it, and there's so much we didn't even talk about. Breezango's serious now. Into Sure. Mike, NXT knows how to do an actual squash match, so if you're looking for some of those, head on over to NXT. And then the women's division is it definitely had it was sparse in its segments this week, but I think after the showing at NXT Takeover, I think everybody needs probably a week to heal up as we move forward.
Yeah, the honorable mentions, Cody. It got lost in the shuffle because they're really just pushing Fyter Fest and Cody versus Jack Hager. But Mark Quinn from Private Party got what I gotta say is the first match of anything worth a damn on AEW in a singles match. Stood toe to toe. Demonstrated that he belongs in the company. He deserves TV time. He looked really good. And the storyline of the match was that he got hurt on a top rope dive. He didn't really. It's just a story. And that's why he couldn't triumph over Cody. And then the other person who looked really good, Matt, Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander fought Nyla Rose and that Penelope Ford. And Penelope Ford was the highlight of those 4 women. She got to get the finish in. She got the pin in. And it just looks like, now they're adding another competent piece, as Penelope develops, another competent piece of that women's division. So it's promising.
Quick happy birthday to Hikaru Shida, because she tweeted out, "I thought this was the worst birthday ever, but I got so many birthday wishes. Now I'm happy." Oh. It was super cute. So I think by the time this comes out, we'll be 2 days behind on that birthday, but happy birthday. All right.
Let's do it, Matt. Backlash.
Before we do that, real quick, we've got... I said on Twitter that if we can get some hot takes on Paul Heyman and Bruce Prichard, that we were going to read them. So our favorite, Amy, coming at us with some hot takes. I love this. With the looming theocracy that threatens our nation, it seems fitting for the blue brand that airs on Fox. In regards to Bruce, brother love will heal the blind and lame while turning critical thinking into a myth of and again, this is at Amy Dalton Girl. If you guys want to find her on Twitter, she's an absolute joy, and I wish we could get more gems like this. But she continued. She does want to hear Vince Russo's take on this, Mike. But also, Prichard named his son Kane. That is just weird, considering he managed Taker when he was called Kane. Can we say man crush, maybe, for Brucey? And here's her final thought. All joking aside, I think highly of Paul Heyman, and I think this is a poor choice for WWE. I think just to respond to what Amy's saying there, and Amy, again, thank you so much. We love you. I just wish we knew more about what Paul Heyman was doing, about what Bruce is doing, what this actually means. And Mike, you were saying it earlier. You enjoy the writing, so it's kind of the same way that our father used to tell us how to vote. Are you happier over the last 4 years, or are you angry? And then you make a decision on president based on that. I think, even though I've had a baby, I think we could all agree that the world is much worse off after the last 4 years. But that's the same thing with selecting these writers. If you've enjoyed the writing, and of course, how could I be upset with Drew McIntyre being champion? And we had Becky Lynch for such a long time, and now Asuka's my women's champion.
So you're coming around to my side.
I'm saying you make good
aboard.
Points right now.
Welcome
Jesus.
Aboard.
You're such a hunk of garbage sometimes.
There's plenty of room on the old bandwagon.
So what I was about to say is this fucking idiot over here. You know what he said? No,
Ready to do Backlash, Matt?
No. We're done now.
No.
Yeah, we're done. You fucked up. I was complimenting you, and you talked over my compliments for you. Unbelievable. See, folks, when you're a brother of discussion, unfortunately, every year that you've been alive means you've also been a brother in real life. And, oh my God, just...
So many thoughts.
All right, yeah, let's talk Backlash. Let's start at the top. Let's start at the top of the card and work our way to Apollo Crews versus Andrade.
The real main event.
I'm just kidding.
Real fans only.
No, this is right. We shouldn't make fun of this because we've been begging for this match forever. Not only begging for it from the sense that we want Apollo Crews to actually be doing something that matters, but from the sense that Andrade should be a part of huge matches, regardless if it's a mid-card title or a main event title. Andrade should be involved. He should not be forgotten when it comes to pay-per-views, main events on the regular show. Andrade's where it's at. So the fear would be not, having this be a loss. Really, neither one of these guys can really take a loss, so we need this feud to continue, I think, ultimately, is what we're looking at.
Yes. So we've wanted Apollo to actually get a chance for a long time. He's getting that chance.
Mike, hot
Monday,
tag. Is Apollo the greatest U.S. champion of all time?
no, it'd be John Cena. So Apollo Crews on Monday, they pushed him out and said, all right, little fella, you go out there and you cut a promo. You say you're the best and you like to fight. And then at the end, you say Kevin Owens as loud as you can, okay? And so Apollo Crews went, hey, it's me, Apollo Crews. I'm the champion. I don't know who I'm going to fight. It could be Angel. It could be Andrade. Or it could be Kevin Owens. And it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. I don't know why they set him out there to fail. But, Matt, as somebody who used to do stand-up comedy, you are going to suck when you first start. You just need to get out there and get some reps. So, Matt, after he wins on Sunday, kick him right out there to start off Monday and do the opening show promo. Because the only way you're going to learn to swim is you got to toss him right in the pool. Put him right in the fire.
All right. So we're not going to be watching Asuka, Charlotte, Edge, Randy, or Drew McIntyre. We're going to be watching Apollo Crews open.
Apollo Crews,
you heard it here first, folks.
Monday night. That's the only way to learn. Throw him right in the fire.
So,
Woo!
absolutely, the only way for this to continue has to be getting Kevin Owens involved. If it becomes a triple threat moving forward, that can, get Kevin Owens involved with Apollo Crews, because that is one of the best talkers in the game. And what he does well is make you look good too. He's the Conan O'Brien of pro wrestling. So get Kevin Owens in there. I think, Mike, absolutely, pro wrestling wise, the actual wrestling in the ring, these guys will tell an amazing story, Andrade and Apollo. Promo wise, this is the absolute worst pick of all time for Apollo, for a guy
what a nightmare.
Who's so green
What
on
a
the
mismatch.
mic.
Yeah.
Give him a guy that has a manager, because he does not, the English language is not his first language. So, absolutely terrible pick. Now, if we can get a promo segment going of Zelina Vega, Kevin Owens, and Apollo Crews, I'm all for it. Give me that 10 days a week.
That has to eventually be what we're building to. So Kevin Owens can carry Apollo as a friend for a little while they feud with
absolutely.
Mrs. Alistair and all that. So that's what we're hoping for. Kevin helped Apollo get over. I think Kevin wants to.
So we're on the same page here. Nobody wins. All right. Moving on. We've got Bayley and Sasha Banks as the new champs. So you got double champ Bayley versus Alexa, Nikki Cross, and the Iconics. Who should win here, Mike? Absolutely, it should be the Iconics. And for every week that Sasha Banks is reminded that she should be turning on Bayley, are we finally going to get it? Or Sasha and Bayley going to keep winning? Keep burying this win. Just bury it down. Just make it a 3-woman division. Just down on the... Get down there. Go! Go!
At some point, they're gonna do this Sasha Bayley story, right? Is this it? Because it wasn't the past 10 times that we thought it was gonna happen.
Are we waiting for a crowd?
Maybe this is because I thought it was gonna be something we see at WrestleMania. Now maybe it's gonna happen at SummerSlam. It's almost to the point now, now the match won't. It's we're over it. You guys are friends now. Don't break up. Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
The most satisfying.
Don't do it on my account. Just, I want it. No, I don't want you to do it now. It's meaningless now.
Yeah, it's.
That's the Bruce. That's the Bruce writing room.
The only saving grace for them putting it off is they put off the McIntyre push much farther than either of us ever thought they could, and it still is satisfying. So, whoever did the McIntyre story, if you're also really doing a slow burn, just letting that grilled cheese just sit on the pan, the bread's not even brown yet, the cheese is not, it's still cold. That's what they're doing with this Bayley and Sasha story. Matt, most satisfying ending, I have to think we agree on this one, is the Iconics having another opportunity to gloat every single week across all different brands of women's wrestling about how great they are. But we're doing the slow burn grilled cheese. So I think Bayley and Sasha go over.
Yeah.
Matt, in a feud that nobody wants to see, it's Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. The most satisfying
I think we're in the minority.
Is no, I don't like the way they're exploiting Jeff Hardy's issues with addiction, his mental health. It's the weirdest thing. It's the timing of it is just baffling, especially when they had a segment of police arresting people out in the street. Basically, the day after the protests got a little more than they could have in Minnesota. It just seems like the most tone-deaf segment WWE has going right now. Please let Sheamus win this in a squash. I want this over.
Yeah, like I said, I don't understand why I do feel like I'm in the minority for this. I don't know. It's even tough to talk about because it feels like we have to tiptoe around it, and for what you were just bringing out. But anyway, I think, yeah, the sooner that this is done, the sooner we give Jeff his final whatever we're supposed to be giving Jeff right now. Let's just have that happen and let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with this, talking about it.
Yeah. The next match is Asuka defending her title against Nia Jax. We both would want Asuka to win going in. We've definitely become disenfranchised with Nia because she's hurt so many of our beloved women's wrestlers. The latest casualty being Kairi Sane. Nia is absolutely, we alluded to it earlier, she's a paper contender. They're already building that Charlotte versus Asuka match, probably at SummerSlam. This is a rough one. It doesn't feel good for anybody involved. Again, this is another match that should probably be as short as possible.
I wish. I just know they love giving Nia time. I feel like short as possible. Just keep Asuka as healthy as possible. Let's, if we have to, let's end it quick with a Charlotte, some Charlotte interference, and then maybe Nia will trip on her way up the ramp and she'll get hurt, and then we can just move on from this one. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it because I am pretty upset that Nia Jax still gets these opportunities. Think about how cool it would be if we make it to Survivor Series and we have Io, Asuka, and maybe Kairi Sane if she stops getting hurt by Nia Jax holding a title, and we could have a triple threat there. How fucking amazing would that triple threat be? Woo!
Yeah.
But anyway, for that to happen, we need less Nia Jax, less gashed open heads, and more Asuka victories. So Asuka all the way. I hate that I'm throwing away this pay-per-view like this because last week we gave way more credence to that takeover. But moving on to Braun Strowman versus The Miz and John Morrison. Mike, there's absolutely no way Braun Strowman is losing in this handicap match because the whole idea is to just keep building up Braun Strowman to being a powerhouse. So that's why you throw him in a handicap match, because you get to keep the title on his shoulder. Unfortunately, The Miz and John Morrison get buried, but I don't think that's what their characters are all about. If they were ever going to win a title, it's Money in the Bank, it's a roll-up, it's a 6 guys or a triple threat. So no worries there for Miz and John Morrison. But yeah, something's going to happen here with The Fiend, and we'll start leading into the SummerSlam Fiend Braun Strowman match.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best. That's the rooting interest, is who's gonna run in. Is it gonna be The Fiend? Is it gonna be Otis? Is it gonna be Mandy? This match is there's no way we're only gonna see 3 people. There's probably gonna be 5, 6, 7 people by the time this is all said and done.
You know what? I would keep Otis so far away at this point. I don't know.
There aren't a lot of people who can defeat Braun and have both people leave the match looking strong. It's almost The Fiend and Roman, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I expect to see a lot of man meat out there. I think my boy Otis is going to make a cameo. Maybe the Fiend, gets a little epilogue at the end of this match. But Matt, Drew's big got a big title defense. He's going to fight Bob Lashley. I think you and I, when we tweet, we get a lot of pushback when we're not the biggest fans of Bobby Lashley. I've never been enamored of his mic work, his power moves. I always feel like he's, I don't know, trying to hold like a bunch of watermelons, and he's always like dropping somebody. But Drew McIntyre is an excellent champion. And I think he's going to be somebody who can help make Bobby not look like a bag of diarrhea. At least in our eyes. We're not big fans of him. Matt, do you see this match? What are your expectations for this one?
There's wants and needs with everything. I would love to see Drew McIntyre just go over Bobby quick and just keep building up Drew. But Drew's been doing such a great job, even going for a while with the Big Show and having that like I remember after WrestleMania I said, holy shit, that should have been the main event of WrestleMania. That McIntyre Big Show match, woo, A+. And then of course we've got the Seth Rollins match, which was fantastic. So, all right, Bobby Lashley is fine at what he does, and what does he do? He greases himself up, and he looks really tough. Ooh, I'm really tough. I'm really strong. Oh, look at this. That's my Justin Roiland impression. But anyway, I don't need Bobby to be champion. We've got some issues here with him holding the belt and actually being able to like move a storyline forward or help it progress with his green abilities on the mic. So you look at the other side of the ring, and Drew McIntyre has not only had these amazing matches since becoming champion, he's been having so much fun on the mic and is just oozing confidence. This was my fear of at least the booking, was that now we were going to look at this and go, Drew's getting overbooked. But it's because we're waiting for like an actual good contender to show up, and this was... Oh, shit. Mike, I think maybe your microphone popped out or something?
Did it?
I don't know. I just heard like a highway for a second. But anyway.
Oh, no. Somebody drove by. Sorry.
Oh, okay. But, the point I was getting at was the only negative to come out of this is Drew winning too easily and having the Twitter universe get too upset at that result. But really, this isn't it. This isn't the big rivalry for Drew. This isn't the big match. This isn't that opportunity or that, the opportunity he's handing out for possibly losing the title. This is just getting him to SummerSlam.
It's kind of a puzzling decision to have him fight Bobby, if only because this company so badly wants Bobby to get over. But they're going to have him fight Drew. And the way they've booked Drew is he kicks out of finishers at 1. He kicks out of Brock Lesnar moves at 1. And now they want him to go up against Bob Lashley and make him look, legitimate. And it's just for McIntyre to treat like the upper echelon of WWE, kicking out at 1, and laughing off some of their moves. And now to like try and drag Bobby up to that level. It just really feels like a no-win situation for Lashley.
Absolutely.
Like for me, that's the hardest question: is what's the best case scenario for him? A longer, 15, 20 minutes and not getting annihilated. But it's like it's like they put him in a lose situation.
Yeah, I think that even though you and I are admitted like not huge fans of Bobby, and I think there's so many other folks that have
so
amazing
Matt, look at it this way, like how we talked about Apollo Crews and Andrade. This is on the same card. Somebody told me it's like the person that you vibe with the most, it's like playing tennis, right? So you play tennis with somebody who's at your level. Mm-hmm. So Apollo and Andrade are both at the same level, like microphone-wise and, wrestling-wise. But it just feels like McIntyre and Bob are not – they're not going to be able to play tennis because McIntyre is literally – he's like the 2016 Golden State Warriors. He's just incredible at everything across the board. And then Bob's got to go in there and be like, man, I haven't had a push in like years. And now you're going to make me go against a guy who's just every single at-bat is a grand slam. He somehow gets people in front of him on base and gets 4-run home runs every single time he performs. You want me to go in that? It's Backlash. Yeah. It's just, I feel kind of bad for Bob. It's not fair to put him up against McIntyre. This is like his championship opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that actually, like, to feel bad for Bobby makes sense. I still...
And I love Drew. I'm pumped to see Drew, win and look good doing it because he's going to. It's just, man, you kind of feel for Bob.
But
let's.
I was gonna say, but is it like? I mean, he's not really gonna win, and he gets to be on TV, and he's on, he's in a main event.
Yeah, I'm talking about Bob the character, I guess. But Matt, we're both picking Drew should win. Drew should hold the belt for the next 4 to 5 years. Let's go to the greatest wrestling match in the history of organized wrestling. Matt, Edge, Randy Orton. It's already taped. It's already in the can. Somebody's already editing it right now. They're doing a deep fake of probably AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan and putting Edge and Randy Orton's faces on it. Sounds like it's going to be really good. Let me ask you this. It's not going to be AJ versus Daniel Bryan, which I thought that was supposed to be happening on this card. It's nowhere to be seen.
Right. That is why, like...
Is that why they moved
yes.
it?
That is absolutely why it's on SmackDown, because they didn't want everybody going, wait, I thought...
So it's going to be the Simpsons movie. Oh, it's the worst day of my life, Dad. Worst day of your life so far. So this is greatest wrestling match so far. Just wait till SmackDown when Daniel Bryan and AJ come at it. Is that why? Did we just figure it out?
That's why it's not on Backlash? Absolutely. I think the two of them are going to want to go through SmackDown and say, these fuckers, these old farts, well, I guess they're old farts too. Well, these other old farts think they're going to have the greatest wrestling match of all time.
I regret not realizing that till this moment. I think they could have opened our show, but
I mean,
Edge, it's Edge.
Right.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna love it because Edge is the best, and Randy Orton's a Hall of Famer. It's it's gonna be good. It's just that's the hot tag, Matt. Is it gonna be better than Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles?
All right. What are the chances that match doesn't end clean so that they do put it on Backlash? Because that also kind of feels like a regular WWE thing to do, right?
Yeah. I think that we just accidentally stumbled on such a good point. Like
you don't want to go back on it. Okay.
They're not going to want to overshadow Edge and Orton the way they've built it and have. All right. A pre-show AJ versus Daniel, outdo it.
Well, we went over this weeks ago when they first announced it. Mike, this will be the greatest wrestling match ever in my book if this ends in like 2 seconds. Like, if they give us the big fuck you and really spin it on us because everybody was complaining about how long the Edge and Orton match was at WrestleMania, that this one ends with like one RKO and you don't even get like the returning hero winning. You get the evil bad guy Randy winning. Yeah, 7 stars for me. If they turn around and give us that, 7 stars from the Brothers from Matt of the Brothers of Discussion. That's what I need to see to get your 7 stars. Now, if you want 15 stars, no,
then Randy RKO's Beth Phoenix and Edge, one on each shoulder, boom, and then pins both of them. And then Randy and his wife drag out a mattress and have rated R sex on top of them. That would be a 15-star match.
We should come up with a grading scale where they have to do like some sort of like Dragon Ball Z air fighting to get 15 stars.
There's no outcome that will make me leave. There's no way I'm going to leave Sunday night going, man, that was the greatest wrestling match I've ever seen.
I'm telling you, if they swerve us, absolutely. If I'm rolling on the couch laughing while I'm scarfing down pizza on Sunday night, it will be the greatest wrestling match of all time.
Because look, the way you and I grade wrestling matches, it's not, did you see that, lumbar hold sashayed into a knee bar elbow joint, dragon lock.
Well, you do a better job of that than I do, but I'm just like, I didn't like this. But go ahead.
It's like with a movie. I don't just watch, for the greatest special effects of all time. That's my favorite movie. It's something that makes me feel something. Is there something that can happen in this match that you will feel so strongly for that you'll be like, I'll be goddamned. That was pretty excellent match. And then you just got to sit there and measure it against all the other great matches of your life.
Here it is. This is it. This will be the part that I cut and I turn it into an ad. I love Edge to death, and I don't want to see any pain come to him. But when we talk about a cinematic ending to his career, if he laid out Randy so hard with a spear to get the win, that this double ended his career. Like, if you could somehow hear the inner monologue of him thinking, like, if I do this one more time, this really is it. And this is the 18th spear that Randy's about to take in a row. And his spine is screaming, and you can feel it through the television. And he comes, runs, and just, like, organically, it comes out in slow motion. Like, nobody's hitting a button. I just mean, like, nature gets involved. The earth starts to shake down in Florida underneath them. And he rips and Randy rips in half. I mean, in 2 pieces. There's Randy over there, and then there's just an Edge on top of whatever Randy fell down in the ring, whatever piece, maybe his thigh, slaps his hand down. Oh my God, I just threw my headphones out of my ear, but he slaps his hand down on Randy's thigh. Tommaso Ciampa's roaring with laughter on the other side of the glass. Ref counts to 3. That, Mike, I just booked the greatest wrestling match ever. I'll take the end of Edge's career part 2. I don't want him to do a Randy the Ram and go down for the double flying elbow and have a heart attack. I don't know, but I'll take maybe just like kayfabe, like end of his career. I think that's what I want. I don't want Edge to actually get hurt, but I will take Randy Orton literally splitting in half. That's fine. Split him in half. Have him fly out in different directions. All right, Mike, your turn. You're supposed to say yes and.
The only thing I can think of is, and it's already ruined, is I heard that they filmed it early. They had NXT people like hanging out outside the ring. The only thing I could think of is if they kind of shot it a little bit like with The Fiend and Cena, or kind of like when Rocky would fight Rocky Balboa, and it was kind of like you couldn't even see the crowd. So for them to kind of just darken the arena and all you can see is these 2 guys go at it, kind of like an old school boxing match.
Yeah.
And Edge is a pretty good actor, so I think something along those lines where you actually see blood, sweat, and tears, with almost just no crowd, just the 2 of them, chirping at each other and wrestling. I think that's their best shot.
That's the best point to bring up, is Edge is an actual paid actor. I lost my this is a good time to make our picks and wrap it up because I lost the part that goes in my ear, so it hurts. I'm just putting like a piece of hard plastic in my ear instead of a rubber piece.
One quick thing while you're doing that. After his comments this week, Matt, are we about to see the slowest wrestling match ever? Too soon? Okay. Matt, so are you picking Edge or Randy?
Official pick, Randy Orton.
Yeah, this smells like it's going to be, a little bit of back and forth. Give me
Empire Strikes Back. Absolutely.
Yeah, give me Randy all day.
Greatest Star Wars of all time, Empire Strikes Back. This match ends with a heel victory. Edge is losing a hand. All right.
It's gonna be the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really, really excellent, and then it's just gonna go off the rails for the third check.
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, I think I will be on the right-hand side. So if you could click that subscribe in the lower right-hand corner, that's where it's at, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's on the right side.
Click that button. We greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching us on IGTV, please share it to your story. That would be fantastic. And let the world know about the Brothers of Discussion. And Apple Podcasts is the best place to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast to help us get some more 5-star ratings. That's right. We only have 5-star ratings. Don't go in there and break that streak. Please, God. But also, we have those links on bodpodcast.com where you can buy 2, get 1 free on your CBD products from cbdmedic.com. And also anchor.fm/Brothers of Discussion. If you have the means and you've been enjoying the show and you want to help us help support what we do to put this all together, all the content's still going to be free for you. This is just an opportunity for you to give back, and we would greatly appreciate it. We'll give you the shout out. We'll give you all the time in the world. Anything you want from us, we will return the favor. If you just want to hang out and chat. But essentially, this is just a spot. If it's kind of like going into a museum and you donate to get in. You don't have to donate. It's greatly appreciated, and that's kind of, I think, how we should talk about that going forward. Again, big shout out to Amy. Thank you so much for being the first person to jump on board. You know, we loved hanging out with you, so I could not have been less surprised that it was you, Amy, and but more touched. So thank you so much. I hope I put that eloquently. Mike, let's sail off into the sunset and everybody enjoy Backlash. Have a good one.
Woo!